Hey guys, BrickWizard59 here, and welcome back to a look at a brand new awesome LEGO custom build review. And this is a look at Raskolnikov's AT-AT Walker. Now this is the first time I've actually built a custom model of another mock builder, and I'm telling you, I'm blown away. This is such an amazing model, has a lot of detail. Overall the scale structure looks amazing, and the best part, it has a full interior. So in this video we're going to be taking a review of the entire model as well as a bit of a quick comparison, and stay tuned for the end of the video as I'll be telling you how you can get free instructions and a parts list to make your very own version of this walker. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so let's start off with the size of this build. I think that's what many of you guys might be wondering about. So in comparison to the 2014 AT-AT Walker, the 2014 AT-AT Walker measured over 12 inches tall by 12 inches wide, which is also same as 33 centimeters tall by 32 centimeters wide. So it is a very large model, but this custom build is 18 inches tall by 19 inches wide, which is also same as 45 centimeters tall by 47.5 centimeters wide. So this is a huge model. Basically 1.5 of the 2014 AT-AT Walkers add up to the size of this build. So it is very, very tall. And of course, compared to other UCS AT-AT Walkers like those of Cave God, this one is very, very sturdy, and of course, as I said in the past, has a great interior. So I really love builds with interiors, so this one does have an interior. Plus the legs also have articulation. There are 3 points of articulation on the legs, so there are a lot of play features and parts to this build. So now let's go ahead and get started with the review. Alright, so before we actually get on to the review of the build, I just wanted to take a look at the detail. This model has a ton of detail, so let's go ahead and start off with a look at the legs. Alright, so starting off, we'll take a look at the legs of this build. So the legs are very, very detailed. So what you could see, there are just so many cool details. So they have various use of tiles on the top. And then I like they use the Lego pole or lightsaber parts to give it some more detail. And then this portion here is made using the rounded like plates. And finally, we have the very bottom with the use of a few different types of tiles. So the leg is super, super detailed. Actually, we'll now go ahead and take a quick look at the front of the leg, which also has quite a bit of detail. So there's various tiles used throughout, and same thing on both sides. So there's tiles on the front and the back of the build, and I think that looks really, really good. And of course, as I said before, the legs have 3 points of articulation, as you can see, one here at the base, one here in the center at the knee, and then the final one is actually here on the top. So as I said, so you can actually take the legs and kind of straighten them out to any position you really want. So here you could see this is at the very upright position, but it's really cool. The legs are very sturdy, so they're not going to break easily. So one of the great things I love about it is that, again, the legs are very sturdy and you can easily move them around. So it's actually a pretty good model, not only for folks who want to display it, as it's a very nice display-worthy model, but it's also a really good playable model. Alright, and here we have a look at the upper section of the build. We of course have the main body here, as well as the head. So let's go ahead and start off taking a look at the head. Alright, so here we have a look at the head. So the head actually does have 2 points of articulation, here in the back and here in the front. So you can move it side to side on the front or on the back. So you can kind of see how that's made with a few Technic parts here and here. So this is a look at the neck, and it's a very interesting design, the way he made that. and I think it looks really, really nice. Here you're gonna have a look at the side armor with your two blasters here, and the blasters do also move front and back like such, and I think that's really, really cool. Moving along to the top of the build, so you have a very nice use of tiling of all different sorts, you know, to give it a bit more of eye-popping detail. And then here we have a look at the front, and that's actually a very interesting design how he made the red glass, so I'll show you that right now. Alright, so here's a better look at the front of the build. Once again, there's a look at the glass detailing, which is very interesting how he made that, because of the fact that he actually put the plates on their side rather than put the plates on their side rather than sticking them out like the rest of the build. And I think that's a very interesting design. Once again, here on the bottom, then you have two more blasters for a total of 4 blasters on the entire build. And of course, as I said before, the entire build is able to open up like such to reveal the interior. Alright, so here we have a look at the interior of the head. And one thing I absolutely love is the fact you can fit all 3 minifigures inside. So you have your 2 pilots on the very front. And they're hover tank pilots from the Imperial hover tank set. But in Rogue One, they were also manning the AT-ACTs. So I ended up putting those there instead. So you could see there are 2 studs of space between the 2 pilots. So it is very, very roomy inside. You got a couple of levers here on the front. And then, of course, there is where General Veer sits. So get a bit of better light inside. But you can see General Veer sits nicely in a bit of like a desk formation behind his desk over there. And it's very roomy. There's about 3 stubs of space back there. So General Veers also fits in very nicely. And here we have his very cool micro binoculars. So he can actually view like the shield generator like he did in the movie. So it's another fun little feature. And overall, actually, if you remove the desk, you could probably fit 4 minifigures back there. So it is a very roomy build, and I really do love it. And again, it just closes up by putting the top down. Now let's go ahead and take a look at that body. Alright, and one last feature actually for the head of the model is the fact that yes, it has spring-loaded shooters. So here in the very back, you have 2 spring-loaded shooters. So that is super cool. They're actually very well hidden. So there's kind of a look at where the spring-loaded shooters are. In the very back over there. So they're very well concealed, which is actually pretty cool. I usually don't like spring-loaded shooters, but in this case it was actually a very nice inclusion. Alright, so now let's go ahead and take a look at the body of the build. So before we actually get into the interior, I just want to point out the detail that's present throughout the entire build. So if we look here, there's a lot of use of tile and plate. So he has a really good use of studs versus tile. And I really like how that looks. This design here is also very interesting with the ladder pieces. And actually one other thing I wanted to point out, these pieces are not part of the set. I did not have these type of parts that are seen here. So I had to replace it with these parts. But I still think it looks really, really nice. Here we have a look at these sides here. Once again, I like the use of these small little details like binoculars here. This type of piece here on the side for the clips. So it's just very interesting, all the tiny little details he's added to this build. And now, of course, let's go ahead and take a look at the interior. This entire panel folds open, which is really, really cool. Now, the interior space was all there in the build, but all the seats and things that I've added, so all the accessories were actually not present in the actual build. I ended up adding all these seats and all the parts in the other sections. So the only thing that was actually present in the build was the two floors, which I think is really good though. So there was a lot of space included in this build, so you could fit a ton of minifigures. Again, the other side opens up as well, and I'll actually go ahead and do that so we get some more light in here. So what we have here, we have a ladder here on the side here, and I added these chairs. Now the chairs are accurate to the actual AT-AT Walker. They are in the sand blue color, and I added about 10 of them in the entire build, and I think that looks really, really nice. So I just ended up seating a few stormtroopers in there, and of course one other thing is that you do have a trap door down there. So let's take a look at that. Alright, so here's a closer look at the interior. Once again, right down there is the trapdoor. So basically there's this one like clip piece which you gotta move here on the bottom. And then you can pop open your trapdoor, which is a little tough to reach here. But there you go. So I know it's kind of tough to see, but there is a trapdoor there, so you can take a minifigure and it falls down to the bottom. So it's pretty cool. Not sure if that was actually there in the original build, or the original Walker, but it's a pretty cool build. Really do like how that turned out. Alright, but wait, there is more. These panels also fold open to reveal an even greater interior. So let's go ahead and start off taking a look at this section right over here. This is technically where speeder bike should go, so I made this really small, tiny little speeder bike, and it fits really nicely inside here. So there's a lot of space. You can even just remove it and just add a bit of a command center in there. But I think that's really cool. There's a lot of space in here. Moving along to the other side, what we have here is a bit more simple. So I just added a bit of an armory here with some blasters. Again, you can add anything you want. You can fit minifigures in there, so there is a lot of space on this build. Alright, and we'll again turn on to the other side here. Same thing, we got seats here. Again, 5 of them on this side. And then this section here, what I ended up doing was I ended up making a bit of a miniature command center. So I just added a bit of the hologram projector here, and I got Grand Admiral Thrawn. So if you have like a high leader that's cut inside this walker, you can use this space for private communication with someone like Vader. And then on this side, again, there's a look at the other side where you have your speeder. And these fold down, and then this folds right on top. So you don't even see these parts here, because this piece just covers it up. So I really do like how that looks, but there's a look at the body. Alright, and lastly, I just wanted to kind of show you the back side of the build here, which is very interesting. So there's a ton of cool small details here on the back, which I think is really nice. Use of hoses, guns, and whatnot. We got some of the grill type pieces. And then here's a look at the slope. So there, it slopes upward, and there's still more cool little details. So I just really like the amount of detail on this build. And finally, here is a look at the top side. So once again, various different plates and tiles, and I think that looks really, really nice. And again, there is a look at the top side. Alright, so to get the instructions, what you want to do is go to rebrickable.com. And there you can go ahead and go to the menu and click on mocks. So that's like the third on the drop down menu. And when you get to mocks, just click on the section that says browse mocks. And then it'll come up to hottest creations, and just go find the AT-AT Walker. It's one of the top ones. And when you get there, this is how it'll show up, the main page. Just go all the way down to the end, where you will see inventory, buy parts, building instructions, and parts list. So there you go. Alright, but there's one final look at the Walker as a whole. And as I said in the beginning of the video, here's a quick little comparison. So there is a look at the AT-ST Walker, which comes right to that piece right there. So basically this Walker is equivalent to 2 of the 2016 Rogue One AT-ATs in terms of how tall it is. So it's a very large model, especially since the fact that the AT-ST itself is a very large model. 2 of those is very, very tall. So this builder did an amazing job in building this Walker. So what are my final thoughts on this build? Well, I think it is amazing. I would definitely recommend it. Again, as I said, you saw a look at the tutorial. So just go to rebrickable.com and you can build your very own version of this build. So, again, this has some great detail, has some great playability, a nice interior, and the structure is very nice and stable. So I definitely give this a 10 out of 10. This is a great build. There are really no flaws with this. Everything is built very nicely. And I definitely recommend it if you have around $350, which is how much it costs. probably to buy all the parts from sites like Brooklink. If you have that type of money, I'd definitely go ahead and pick the set up. But anyways, thank you so much for watching this awesome custom build review. Tell me what you guys think. Do you have this build? Do you not? Would you like to make it? Let me know about that down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, a thumbs up would be great. And do not forget to subscribe down below for more. So this is Break 59, and I'll see you all next time.